What is up, Glory Gang?
Yo,
I'm Austin.
I'm Darren.
And we are the Glory Boys. You're listening to the Glory Boys podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in today.
Yep.
And today we're talking about bigger.
Isn't
Always.
better.
Nice.
Let's roll that intro. What is up, Glory Gang? So glad to be with you again with another Glory Boys podcast episode.
You almost said Pokeball, didn't you?
I did,
Nice.
because I was thinking about Pokemon.
Yeah. But we're not shooting Pokemon today. We're shooting podcasts.
Podcasts.
Let's go.
It's been a minute, kind of.
It has been.
We did like a small batch not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have another one to drop this week. And so here we are,
Dropping it.
dropping it out
Dropping
on
it.
Wednesday. And
That's
my cord,
right.
my cord keeps.
Yeah,
Catch
podcasts are tough.
They are tough.
It's hard to come up with topics, just really knowing what do people want to hear?
Yeah.
What do people need to know?
Yeah, we get some insight from Instagram. I'll do like polls and questions and ask you guys, what do you want to hear? We get comments on YouTube and stuff. But yeah, so if there's anything that you guys are interested in asking us, wanting us to talk about topics, whether it's gear or weddings or business ownership, any of that stuff, we would love for you to submit those, whether that's on YouTube or on the podcast, wherever you're watching or listening, or on Instagram or Facebook.
And today we're talking about bigger, not always being better.
Yeah.
And that can have a lot of connotations to it. But today we're talking about gear specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into today's podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, it would mean a lot to us if you would hit the subscribe button.
Mm-hmm.
If you enjoy our content, hit the bell for notifications
Ding.
as we drop new videos every week, Wednesday and Friday.
Yep.
And if you're on Apple Podcasts, it would mean a lot to us if you would leave us a rating. Of course, listen to the podcast first. Don't give us a rating based on if you don't know or not, but listen to the podcast. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback and any other questions, comments, concerns that you may have.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is or what has been your best gear investment?
Best gear investment. So
To-
I would think of that in terms of, did it either save us time, which therefore would make us money? Did it enhance the quality of our work, which therefore would make us money? Those are, you're calculating ROI when you're calculating best investment, obviously. So
Yeah.
the best investment that we have had ever,
Just ever. I think.
man, that's tough. Ever, I would have to say the Small HD Focus 5.
Oh, for sure.
Like, for the money, that has been, I don't know that I could have done this without it.
Yeah, seriously. I just remember like it was yesterday when I first got my first Small HD Focus 5 and it changed everything for
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
Man,
That's
that's
a huge difference. If you're out there shooting video without a monitor,
God bless you.
ooh,
Sheesh.
you gotta try it sometime.
Yeah, it's nice. It changes everything. And they're bright enough where we've shot in like 90 degrees directly sunlight wedding ceremonies outside, and we can see and pull focus, and it's been, super reliable. We've traveled all over to different countries and cities and states and flew with them and threw them in the back of our trunks, and they have really, none of them have broken except for the one that you dropped in the ocean.
Yeah, they've really withstood the test of time. We don't need to talk about the one I dropped in the ocean. No, I let it dip in the ocean.
Yeah, that's
'cause
true.
I was getting an inverted shot on the glide cam.
It was great.
A wave came and it just
Hey, we
right on the monitor.
We still kept the shot, and we used the shot in the film, and
Yeah,
it was
a good shot.
awesome. A great shot.
But yeah,
Sometimes you just got to do it for the shot.
You got to do it for the shot. But yeah, the focuses, they really have withstood the test of time.
Yeah.
I don't even think we have one with a dead pixel.
Right. Which
And
is
we've been using
crazy.
them a lot
And
for the
two
last
of them,
3 years.
two of them we bought used.
That's true.
From a filmmaker that
Yep.
shoots like every day. So
And those are still trucking along just fine. So,
yeah, that's bizarre.
yeah, we actually reached out to Small HD because they don't sell it anymore, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, why would you not sell this? It was easily, I think that the Focus 5 made camera top monitors popular
Yeah.
for people shooting mirrorless cameras. It was really one of the first monitors that was released that actually was good,
Yeah.
had a good quality color panel, had daylight viewable brightness, and was under, it was like the only thing under like $1,500 that did what it did at the time. And now there's all these companies making their version of it, but they discontinued the Focus 5, which is a bummer. So I reached out. We have a connection with somebody in their marketing department who sent us the Focus 7 back in the day. And I was like, hey, why don't you sell this anymore? There's no way it's not still popular.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an alternative that's equivalent. The only thing they have is the 5-inch OLED, which isn't bright enough for daylight. And she responded and said it was an issue of them not being able to source the panels since COVID or whatever. I don't know. But they literally can't get the displays that they put in them anymore.
That's really crazy. They did, however, just come out with a B stock site that they will be selling some of the stuff they had on stock for, I mean, what, like $250 or $300 or super cheap. It's not live yet to my knowledge, but I did sign up with our email to be notified when they do launch that B stock site. And so we'll let you guys know, but we'll probably pick up another couple I mean, they're going to be discontinued for quite some time. We're going to keep using them. We use them for our business. We use them in church. And so we love them. And I would just say, other than the small HD focuses, like one of my favorite things that we've invested in, and it's so simple, but it's our Pelican 1510s with the pockets on the top, the zipper pockets. I just feel like it's been the nicest thing to be able to like travel with gear, have it in its own spot. We've talked about this before on the podcast, but we really love them. They're super cheap. I mean, not super cheap, but they're fairly priced.
I mean,
and they keep all of our gear organized. Like, we know if we open up our Pelican, everything has a home, and we can just feel confident going to a shoot. Like, things aren't just dumped into a random bin and we're hoping that something's in there.
It's true.
But like, we have a battery pocket, we have, a miscellaneous pocket, we have our SD card pocket, we have where our top handles go. I mean, we have literally a spot for everything, and they've been awesome, and they'll literally last forever. Even the foam, which is a little bit more delicate than the dividers, even like jamming cameras in there and all the perfectly...
People putting them in the wrong way.
Yeah, like upside down or sideways. Even with all of that like abuse and bending stuff, like the foam has kind of kept up.
Yeah, it's still in pretty great shape for $35. I mean, if we need to replace it, it's not that bad.
It just takes some time to like grit it out and like pull it away.
It took some time to put together for sure.
What is it, like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch like square, and you peel each piece to like...
You hope you don't get like another one that you don't want. You just...
Yeah, we were really particular in the beginning, making sure that everything fits in there nice. So when we are traveling or throw it in our trunk or bring it on a plane, it's not, jiggling around and getting damaged. But yeah, those are two really simple, practical things that we've bought for our company. They're less than $500 a piece. And, you can spend a little bit of money to make a really big difference in your company, which kind of ties us and brings us into bigger isn't always better. Yeah. I would say those two things are on the bottom line. Maybe the small HD focus, for instance, like, is it the most like professional, amazing piece of gear you can buy? I mean, we have a small HD focus or small HD monitor that we paid a lot more than that. Yeah. A more professional, a more bright, a more, and more about that monitor, but I mean, it's a significant amount more than the one that we bought for the Focus 5.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it hasn't gotten much use.
Right. It's kind of just
chilling. I mean, we do use the Focus 7 on the glide cam, so that's nice. But in terms of like bigger, being better, I mean, really things are moving, they're getting smaller over time. Yeah. Like, it's kind of the trend of things. You used to have massive cameras, massive lights,
a massive team,
and now like you can do what you could do 15 years ago with a massive team, but now you can do it with a small camera, small battery powered, or LED lights that take up almost no power, small cameras, small gimbals, small everything, small sliders even. Everything is moving to be smaller and smaller as time goes on. So this is going to be about our URSA ultimately. And that's kind of where we got the title from. Bigger is not always better, because we bought the URSA in hopes that bigger was better in this case. We wanted something that I actually remember saying like, oh, I want a bigger camera because I want to be able to do handheld and it not feel, jittery or whatever. It has built-in XLRs, which is great. It has built-in ND filters, which is great. All of these reasons that I kind of convinced myself that we needed something bigger. And also just like talking to people in the industry, looking at Instagram, like everyone always flexes their gear. And so it makes you want what people have. I was watching tons of videos of people using URSAs and footage captured with the URSA. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so great.
Yeah.
Which you can do that with a Canon 5D Mark II. You could find videos that you're like, wow, that looks really, really good.
Yeah.
And so we bought it.
We did. We got a great deal on it. We bought it. We fully rigged it out. We do have a YouTube video on our full build out. It's really cool. So head over to our YouTube channel and check it out. If you want to know how we chose to build that rig out. So yeah, the URSA really became something that I think we just got in hopes of it leveling up our production.
Yeah.
Which in theory it could and should.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then another thing was, like we don't look or seem as professional because we were comparing ourselves to all these guys on YouTube and on Instagram that were big rigs, big chest rig, big sets, and big budgets. And so we're like, okay, I think that's the next step. We probably have to go in that direction. And so we found a great deal. We found a really suitable fit for our company. And so we pulled the trigger, and it didn't end up being what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And it wasn't anything against the camera.
No.
Camera's great.
Yep.
Having built-in ND filters, having decent preamps that you can just run a shotgun mic into.
Yep.
All of that's great. There were a few reasons that it didn't get used.
Yeah.
We'll just go in that direction, because ultimately the reason we're selling it is not because it's not an awesome camera.
Right.
It's that we couldn't justify using it hardly ever. And there were multiple reasons for that.
Mm-hmm.
The first reason, or potential reason for that, was obviously we would charge more to bring the URSA to a shoot with us than we would a Sony a7 III. That makes sense. It costs more to buy, it costs more to rent, costs more to kit out, so you should charge the client more to use it.
Right.
Well, we kind of ran into where, for the types of projects that we work on 95% of the time, it honestly felt like we were trying to manufacture reasons why they should use this camera, or why they should pay to rent this camera over this camera.
Yep.
And so we didn't see any opportunities really over the last year that we've had this camera where we were confident that we could turn out a better product with the URSA than we could with our regular A7 IIIs. And one of the projects that we did justify it on was a music video. And honestly, I think it was a great choice for the music video.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with the color and how everything looked and how everything turned out. I really enjoyed using it on a Steadicam, doing that all the way that we did.
Yeah.
Fully building it out with the vest rig and all of that stuff. I think it was great, but that was just because we wanted to use the camera. The budget wasn't even there for it.
Yeah.
So financially, it didn't make sense. It kind of made sense creatively, but honestly, looking back now, I feel confident we could have turned out the same product with our A7 IIIs.
Yeah, I would agree.
Looking back, it didn't really seem that it made the film better.
Yep.
Honestly, with the footage that we turned out of our A7 IIIs, we just shot another music video fairly recently using similar lights, kind of a similar style, but we used our A7 III. And honestly, the footage looks just as good to me without having to, we're not doing major intense color grading. A lot of our stuff, we just try to shoot it where it looks good in camera. We adjust for contrast and color, and we don't do a huge amount of crazy in-depth color grading.
Yeah, so another reason was just it kind of messed up our workflow. We had to learn a new program, DaVinci Resolve, which is an awesome program, but at the same time, you were kind of studying the program, kind of watching YouTube videos, and while I was working on other projects. And so you were learning a little bit faster than I was. And then when we worked together on it, it just didn't make sense because we're both in tune trying to figure it out. We couldn't do the things we wanted right away, which obviously it comes with learning a new program. But with our workflow, we just didn't see a big difference. So I think overall, just with file storage, using Blackmagic RAW, which is great, but it just added a significant amount of time to our workflow, and it just didn't seem like the ROI was there to add that extra time.
We have to think of everything in terms of time. As a company, if it'd be a little bit different if we're just in school, we're learning, we're kind of in the phase where we can just learn new programs and do all of that. And like Darren said, Resolve is amazing. It has so many features that Final Cut doesn't, but not really any that we need for our day-to-day.
Right.
And I think that's where the line kind of got drawn, is like, yes, can you, in theory, have a more robust audio editing program in Resolve? Yes, of course. But if it takes you an extra 4 hours per project to make it indistinguishably better because we've learned to edit audio fairly well in Final Cut at this point, whether that be workarounds that weren't originally intended. You can check out our YouTube channel and Darren will teach you how to add a reverb tail. But we figured out things to do in Final Cut and how to kind of work around some of its limitations. And the benefit of the speed that not only we can edit in, but also just the reliability of the program. I mean, I won't lie, like, yes, I've had Final Cut crash, but I've never lost work in Final Cut.
Never.
It auto saves, which Resolve does as well. But I did have Resolve crash a couple times, several times over the course of a couple projects that I did in Resolve. It would crash. It would like randomly, there were some bugs. It would kind of freeze if I were doing something weird, just simple operations. And so it was all of that added up. It just didn't make sense for us personally. If you can edit quickly in that program, that's awesome. But for us, we had to make a decision. Do we want to invest the time necessary? And even if we did, it probably still wouldn't be as fast for us as Final Cut, because that's really what it's good for. Final Cut is just simple, it's fast, it's optimized, and it just works really well for what we do. And so, yeah, the workflow is a big one. Darren mentioned storage space. Again, not only that, that's not only another time consumer, but also it costs money, and storage is not only very expensive, but it's a huge headache to keep managed, to stay on top of. I mean, we have a 12 terabyte drive that if we shoot everything on our A7 III, we can probably fit the whole year's work on there. If we didn't do that, if we went to URSA and shot everything on the URSA, we would have to fill many of those. And it just becomes not worth it unless you have the infrastructure to back it up. And I think that's really where, I think that's really the point, is bigger isn't always better. It is ultimately, you know, obviously it's pretty logical to me, my brain. It makes sense that if you can make something really good in a small package, you can make it better if it has a little bit more room. So I think bigger will always beat better if you have unlimited budget, unlimited crew, unlimited location. Like, if all of the variables don't matter, sure, bigger is better. But it's all of the other variables that make it not better for us.
At least for right now.
At least for right now. So things like a proper tripod. I mean, we're using $170 tripods that we bought on B&H Deal Zone. They're not designed to put 20-pound rigs on. All of the support, even like down to grip and audio, like you need all of it to support a camera like that. Is what we've kind of realized. We thought, you know, we'd just start with the camera and then build the rest of the kit around it. And we've actually learned that, no, we'd rather invest that money into things that actually will make a difference in the quality of our work, such as lighting, audio.
The ability to,
I mean, really lighting and audio.
Lighting and audio is huge. And then even too, like not being able to, we didn't have the stuff to pull focus right away. So that's a big one.
Wireless video transmission.
And all that stuff is not cheap. So
it's more expensive than the camera sometimes.
So all in all, it just makes sense. And it can kind of seem like we're kind of taking a step backwards. Like, we've had a lot of people, oh, I would not sell that. Why are you selling that? You know, that's such a great piece of gear. Why would you do that? And it makes sense for us. We're, at the end of the day, we're not, you know, shooting our dream shoots. We're not working with these huge artists and doing music videos and movies and documentaries, like things that we dream about. We're running a business that provides for Austin's family, for my family, for Bray's family, and Will part-time for his family. And so with that, we need to make the decisions now as a company to be smart to build this company. And so that's what we've done so far in the last 3+ years. We got to make those smart decisions. And then one day, you know, who knows, maybe URSA will come out with something even better that we move into, or maybe we buy a Red someday, and maybe not. Like, I think we're so over the hype and the flashiness of the film industry, and we're happy to create great films with what we have, do the best with what we have, and we'll purchase gear along the way that will help us be better filmmakers.
Absolutely. So if you wanted to know what our plan is, we are selling the URSA. So if you're listening and you're in the market for one of those, you can buy ours. It is barely used.
It's very mint.
Brand new condition, practically. But no, the plan is, like I said, it's not that money we need to run our business. We'd allotted that money towards equipment.
Yep.
That money is going to stay towards equipment.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, those are assets. We don't want this to just fall into an ambiguous bank account that gets spent on energy drinks over the course of the next 4 years.
That's fair.
We want it to go towards things that will make a difference in our business.
Yep.
So if you want to know, well, Austin and Darren, what are you guys going to buy with your money that you make from selling the URSA?
Yeah, what is it?
Here's what we'll buy with the money we're going to make from selling the URSA. One thing on the list is a 6x6 frame with a silk, with a bounce, with neg, a few of the basics of lighting that we can bring with us to every single shoot that will last us the next 15 years. And honestly, those don't really depreciate in value. It's just steel. Cameras depreciate in value. Every single year they go down in value. And so we're looking at what are things that we can get, 2 categories really that qualify. They make a difference in the quality of our work, and they're not going to just be depreciating liabilities. And so things like a 6x6, a new shotgun mic, a really nice shotgun mic is something that we'll probably get with the money that we get from selling the URSA. We would like to get lighting, a few new lights, looking at the Nanlite 300B, getting a couple of those. Good.
Even getting some more of these.
Yeah, more tubes.
More Pavo tubes, the Nanlite Pavo tubes. We absolutely love them. Like, we've talked about them 100 times. We have posted about them 100 times, but it's quality light. Like, we really enjoy it. We have made our shoots better because of these tubes.
Yeah.
And so if you're interested, definitely check out our YouTube channel. Austin does a really awesome breakdown of the Nanlite Pavo tubes and why we love them and why we think they're, as good as the Asteras, and they're like a third of the price.
Yep. That's really probably the 2 biggest things that I think will make a massive difference in our films. From there, obviously we'll get into, we have some good support now. We have some big junior stands. So next from there is really wireless video, wireless focus. And then maybe once we have all of that, if Sony hasn't dropped the perfect camera by then and Blackmagic beats them to it, maybe we'll go back. Maybe we'll go back to the URSA once we have the rest of the equipment to really support using that on set.
Yep.
And there you have it. Bigger is not always better. And hopefully this encouraged you. Really just want to encourage you to make the decision that makes the most sense for your business.
Yes.
Quit looking around on Instagram. Don't get gear acquisition syndrome like I have on the daily. And just be content with what you have. Really learn its limitations. And use and buy gear. Make smart investment decisions in things that will really make a difference in the quality of your work or the quality of your life.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the Glory Boys podcast. I'm Darren.
And I'm Austin.
And we cannot wait to see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications if you're on YouTube, if you're on Apple Podcasts or any other platforms like Spotify. Thank you guys for listening. Please leave a rating. We always appreciate your amazing ratings. And we cannot wait to see you in the next one.
Love you guys.
See you guys.